Hey guys, so oh my gosh, I was just on a different video and it like kicked me off. I think it was a sign. The same kind of weird thing happened yesterday. So I am going to talk about what's been going on with me and my body because I think that really not that many women are talking about it, and I know this because I tried to find it all over YouTube and there weren't any videos, so maybe I'll have to put mine up there. So as you may know, I am pregnant and it is a new situation to me. I mean, not anymore. It actually feels like it's been happening for years. Like, please, is this over yet? But it's just definitely been like a very different condition for me to deal with, like in my own body. Okay. And I do believe, like, I wrote this post on my personal page this morning that there is a reason that this is happening for me, not to me, even though I feel like it's happening to me, or have been for a long time, at least a couple months. And I feel like there is a lot to say about it, a lot to know about it, because it is one of those things that when you talk about like a mental health condition, that it definitely has roots in physicalness, and it also has roots in emotional aspects, right? And um, it's just the same as I mentioned this morning about when I was going through infertility stuff, that in order for me to become fertile and become pregnant, I had to address things that were not right in my body, not right in my liver, not right in my gut. And I had to look at life. I had to look at what I was afraid of. I had to look at why I didn't want to get pregnant, why I didn't want to be a mother, why I was so afraid of all of that, right? And that is what it took for me to be able to get here right now today, okay? And that wasn't easy, and that's why the IVF didn't work, and it was all a learning experiment for me that God gave me, and I know that now. And what I'm like sort of putting together, and it makes me feel a lot better just to think of it this way, and if it helps me, then I think it's a good attitude to take on. And you too, if you're going through anything with your body, or you have, is that um there is a lesson, there is something to learn, and often that lesson is something that is meant to be shared and to create awareness, right? And so for the past couple months, like, I had the same kind of like first trimester that I think most women had, which was nausea, like just a lot of nausea. And so I didn't really know I was pregnant for like six or seven 6 or 7 weeks, maybe longer than that, because then when I did find out how far I was like 12, almost 13 weeks. So there was a long time where I just felt bad and I didn't know why. And it's kind of funny to think back now that how I just kind of like went with that, and felt like really tired all the time, and I didn't really dig in, but whatever. That's how it was. And so for like 17 weeks, I was, I think, like a pretty normal first trimester person, and I just like felt nauseous all the time, and it was bad, and I was sad about it, but I was still able to eat. I didn't barf all the time, and I worked out, I like walked and whatever. But I would say it was in the past, so I'm 33 weeks, and I would bet that it was about 20, somewhere in the range of like 25 weeks, where I started to feel like more off as like like a person, not just like, oh, I'm pregnant, like this is how I feel in my stomach or whatever. And even more dramatically in the past like month and a half to 2 months, when my body kind of started to like not sleep at night, and to like keep me like really, oh, like really like awake with like fears of things. And at first, like, I didn't even like think about why it was happening, right? But it kept coming at me and kept coming at me. And so really why I'm sharing this is because like I have been like looking for familiar like resources and other women who have gone through it, but not in a way that's like, oh, I'm suffering with this, blah, 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 like there's nothing to do about it. No, there are things to do about it. So I want to tell you like what I have been doing and why, and what I think is really important to know, okay? So if you are pregnant and you are having symptoms like you're not sleeping at night and you are having like um, episodes or things during the day where you just like don't feel like yourself, like I literally will cry all the time, and sometimes it feels like I'm trapped. Like I think I've written a little bit about this, but it's been pretty intense. Like if you ask my family, if you ask my husband, I mean, I feel like really bad for him because like it's not been easy for him or me. And obviously, like I have a lot of hormones going, but I just wanted to let you guys know what's going on and sort of give you some ideas, some tips if this is like anything that you've been feeling, because it's not fun, but there are things that you can do. So like the dominant feeling that I've been having is like that I just feel like trapped in my body and like sort of like in my life, because um, I don't know if this is normal because I've never done it before, but if you guys have been pregnant, maybe you can let me know that, like, especially at the end when it's like this thing has been like going on and on for many, many weeks, and it's like you somehow go from, oh wow, like you're either pregnant or you're not, right? Like we always hear this comparison used, like if you need to like decide to make a move towards something, like, well, you either are a yes or a no, right? You either have committed or you're not. Like you're either pregnant or you're not. And you go from the beginning when you're like, you're just as 100% amount pregnant as you are on day one, as you are on week 40, right? But you don't see it and you don't feel it. So it's like it just kind of keeps building and building, right, after a while. And like at the beginning, it's like you might have these symptoms or whatever, but you don't feel like all the physical pressure and pain and stress. But then it keeps mounting. At least this is what it feels like when you have like the anxiety and stuff. It's like it just keeps building and building and it's wearing. So that's why I have this feeling of being like trapped, because I feel like I can't do anything about it. And it's a very disempowered, victim-y feeling, and like that's not helpful, right? But that's like sort of what it felt like. I just want to let you know in case like you are identifying with any of this or have in the past. So it's like sometimes when, especially because it's now winter, and like this isn't like trying to make excuses, but like I need light and I need sun. And so like if you already are feeling like, okay, I'm kind of stuck in this situation, not that I'm not grateful for it, but it's hard and I haven't been feeling well. And like if I know there's still 7 more weeks, right? And that's not a terribly long amount, but we did an ultrasound the other day and the lady was like, oh yeah, you still have a couple months. And I was like, like don't say that, like put it in days, put it in weeks, say like it could be soon or whatever, because it just made me feel like I don't know how to do this. Like every single day it feels like, okay, I need to really get my head on straight, because if I don't focus on the right things, it's easy to fall into this pattern of anxiety or depression, because you're like, I can't do anything about it. It's so much longer. And like the things that go through my mind are like, well, the baby's going to keep getting bigger and bigger. My bladder is going to get more and more pressure, which I can't even imagine, because it literally is all I feel, and I still go on my walks. I still work out, because that is like saving me in other ways, but yet it's so hard to be in a position where I used to feel so like light on my feet and fit and in shape, and I feel like it's hard to walk. It's hard to walk. My feet hurt, like pronating weird or whatever. It's just so many things. So I've been getting this feeling of like feeling trapped, and then when it gets dark at like 4:30, it feels like the world's kind of closing in on me. And so I've been having like, I don't know if they're all panic attacks, but it feels like strong anxiety. And then like the other flip of it is like the depression, when you look at it like, oh, help, like there's nothing I can do or whatever. So what I want to tell you guys is like, I do believe that I'm going through this for a reason, so that I can fully experience what it is like to, yes, go through infertility to fertility, to making those changes that were needed, but also this part, because like when I worked with clients in the past, a lot of the clients that I first would work with were like gut issues or like chronic inflammation and stuff, and a lot of them had children, and their symptoms started after they had children. And I'm not blaming little kids on women's health conditions, but it's because it is such a big process for a body to do this. And like I never knew. I never got it. And like I can't tell you how appreciative I am for my sister to do this for us and to carry Dalton for us. And the whole while I was like running on the treadmill as fast as I wanted, not thinking about anything. And I didn't get it. Like, just like someone who can get pregnant easily doesn't get what it feels like to not be able to do that. Somebody who hasn't gone through a physical pregnancy, you're still a mother 100%. Like I'm still Dalton's mom 100%, but I didn't feel these things. And so I think I'm supposed to learn things from it, also for my mental and emotional health. Like I need to like, work on my focus and like what I do have. And so what I know about what happens like after you have a baby is that like your body, it takes so much energy. It is like literally the most draining energetic thing on your adrenal glands to give birth. That's what I know. And that's why a lot of women have these kind of like mystery sickness conditions show up after that, because it was so taxing to have one baby or two or three or four or whatever. And it takes this knowingness of how to take care of our bodies, especially in the world we live in today, with all of the like contaminants in food, the GMOs, the pesticides, the chemicals around us and all our products and whatnot. But and also just like how hard it is to be a mom, how hard it is to be pregnant, to live life even, and have families and do careers. And so it's a lot of stuff. And stress of any kind is pulling energy out of your adrenals, just the same as a pregnancy does, just the same as giving birth does, just the same as like not eating the correct kind of glucose does. And so I'm like piecing all this together now, just like I did with my infertility, to understand it, like how did this happen and where did this come from, right? And so what I like came back to was the stuff that like I have to like work with people on that are having these things, because what I don't want is to go and give birth and then have my body crash, right? Because that's what happens with postpartum. It's like adrenal fatigue to the max. And I'm trying to prevent that. And so actually I'm pretty grateful that I'm seeing like these symptoms and signs of anxiety now. And like I've looked up so many things about it. And like I came back to what I know about food and what I know about the body and how this stuff shows up in the body. So of course it's emotional, of course it's mindset work and stuff too, but there is a physical component. So the same as I talk about with helping people with anything, like you have to get to the core and you have to get to the root of it. So we're not going to be silly and neglect how we're eating, how we're not eating, how we're, helping these systems of the body out or not. And then how else we have been helping to create this in our energy, right? So what I know is that in order to get my adrenals strong, especially now, it takes focus and work, because the baby is getting so much of my food and so much of my nourishment, right? And when I did the glucose test, I did a video about what happened. Like, I finally convinced them to let me drink organic orange juice instead of that syrup crap. And I was hypoglycemic, like very, very low. Like, my level was like 47 or 49 grams per deciliter. And I think normal is something like 70 or something like that. So I wasn't high, which I knew I wouldn't be, but I was low. And I didn't even, I mean, like, I didn't pass out or faint or anything, but I guess I didn't realize how bad I had been feeling, which is like really low energy. And it's just like everything feels like an effort, instead of like, oh, I'm just living my life and I'm pregnant, right? So what I know is that, okay, yes, you can, when you're pregnant, the baby is it's going to be harder to change things like in your body, right? But it's not impossible. And there's exactly like so many things you can do. So what I'm doing now is I kind of put myself on this, like I put myself on what I would tell any other person that came to me with these issues to do. And it's very similar to what you would do if you have had a baby and you are feeling badly, like postpartum like symptoms or depression or just like low energy in general. But what you need to be focusing on is the most powerful foods that are going to give those adrenals energy, because they're tanked basically. Like, and my emotions I know are pulling on them. So it's like you needed to focus where you can physically in the body, because it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, you're giving the adrenals nourishment with your food, right? And that's great, but you can't also just like go on emotional roller coasters the whole day long and eat these high glucose foods that are great for adrenals and expect to like make a lot of progress, right? You have to do both. So it's always, 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 when we heal things, we change our bodies and transform, it's the root of both parts, like the mental, emotional, spiritual stuff and the physical. So that's what I like have realized I really need. And so what I'm doing is eating for my adrenals basically, which is I like for last week I was doing my celery juice every day. This week I sort of like didn't do it for 2 days, but I have all my juicer set up in the basement, so I keep all my celery down there so I can do it, because like according to medical medium, it's one of the best things for your adrenal glands. So I'm like, okay, like generally I don't do the celery juice every day, but I get it now, like why people will do this and do anything that it takes, because when your body is going nuts on you, you are not living the life that you're supposed to be living, right? And so like that's the first step. And then the basic components are like constant intake of glucose containing foods, which is fruits and vegetables, like all these fruits and vegetables, and pairing them together all through the day, and not going hours and hours without eating, because if you already are in a weak adrenal position, so this could be you feel like you need to lay on the couch and take naps every day, you have some kind of adrenal fatigue, if you don't sleep well at night, if you sleep and you feel tired when you wake up, if you have postpartum, if you have antenatal depression, that's what it's called evidently, when you have it while you're pregnant, like you need to help them out, because when you give them that gap, when you go hours, like even 2 or 3 hours without putting any healthy glucose in, they're going on fumes, and then you're going to get cortisol and stuff in your blood, in your body, and that's like acidic, and that's not what we want. So it's like everything that calms and nourishes and soothes the system down is the way that you need to go. So I'm doing so much fruit, like literally so much fruit. Last night I didn't, like what I ate was like 3 pears and a plum and half a banana or something like that, because my body's craving it, and I know why. It's because my adrenals need that glucose, and my brain needs it too, because like if I'm trying to process emotions and move through feelings with a better perspective, I can't be dehydrated. I can't have like my neural pathways like inflamed or overheated. They need to be cooled. So like lots of cucumbers, the juicing, the green juices, the cucumber juice, the celery juice or whatever. And the vegetables and the fruits are what my body needs. So this is why I always teach, like, go as much plant-based as you can if you have anything to heal, because it's just the fastest track, and these foods are alive and they are filled with intentions and they know what to do in the body. And it's like, I know that they are going to do the right things and that nothing negative. And I know that if I, like, the hardest part too is like when you're having emotional up and downs, that you what you crave is, yes, physical based on what your cells are trying to get you to eat, but it's always also at the same time the mood you're in and the feelings that are dominating. And so if you are in like emotional lows or feeling bad, like, you might not feel like eating the organic green juice and the smoothies. You might feel like eating chips or whatever. And so what I found was, like, I can really notice right now that I'm even more sensitive, that if I eat, even, like, it's not like I'm buying crappy food, it's just any straying off of the most pure path right now, I feel it in my body. And I don't have that, like, capability, like, emotionally, physically, mentally, to even not do everything that I can, basically. So what I'm trying to rebuild my adrenals and give them what they need now so that I can be successful in my birth process and afterwards. So, like, so many fruits, so many vegetables, so many smoothies, and potatoes, like potatoes. And I saw this video from medical medium on pregnancy, and he was talking to this, like, mom blogger, and she asked him what is the most, like, the best first meal after giving birth that someone could consume, and he said steamed potatoes and avocado. So you better believe I'm bringing all of that with me, and then all of the smoothies, right? And so I'm doing some specific smoothie recipes, but just lots of bananas, lots of blueberries, lots of spinach, lots of greens. I'm doing the heavy metal detox smoothie because I know that heavy metals are rooted in the brain aspect of anxiety and stuff, and depression. And, like, I don't know, if I have lots of heavy metals in my brain, but I know that, like, that migraines and, like, Alzheimer's is on my grandfather passed away from that, like, a few months ago. So that's, like, in my genetics, right? So, like, not that it's genetic, but, like, I believe that those toxins are passed on to children. And so sometimes that's what we're dealing with, right? Like, how healthy is your liver when you're born? Well, it's depending on your mom, your grandma, and everybody else. So curcumin works on reducing inflammation. Yes, it does. Good tip. That's what I'm doing for, like, nutrition. I'm just, like, basically eating all the plants, and I'm not even hungry, right? And the baby's, like, getting bigger, and so it's kind of rough, but, like, I guess the small meals works better than the big anyways. But then the other thing is, I think you just have to remember to look at, what else is bringing these emotions up. And so just like when I was going through IVF, like, of course, at the beginning, like, I didn't have any clue that a lot of it was coming from fear of, like, fear of being pregnant, fear of what happens when I do have a baby, fear of that, like, I don't get to have a job, I don't get to work, I don't whatever. And those things aren't true, right? But my mind was afraid of them because of things that I had, thought from whatever reasons. And so I think now, I told my husband, I'm like, I think a lot of this is resurfacing from like when we did IVF. And, like, I know, because as a Pilates instructor and a personal trainer in my early life, that our bodies have muscle memory. And so when you practice certain workouts and then you, like, maybe don't do them for a while and you come back to them, then the body will remember and pick it up. And so I know also that we have emotions are stored, trauma gets stored in our cells. And so while I know that I changed enough, healed enough, released enough in order to get pregnant and carry this baby, that I still think there was some, like, residual fear elements and emotions that could only really be fully addressed from this perspective, from this place now of actually being pregnant, right? Because even though Kelly carried Dalton for me, like, and I really was becoming a mom, I really was having a baby, like it wasn't a baby in me. So the body changing fears, the body image stuff, the hormones, the emotions, the oh my God, I really have to give birth. Like all of that is so real. And I think it probably kicked in more because like I was getting later and later into the pregnancy, and it was becoming more real, and it's becoming like inevitable, right? And so if you don't deal with that stuff, then it's going to build and build until it explodes into your body, right? So what I've been doing for that is, this is sort of like emotional / physical, but have you guys heard of Alexis Smart flower essences? She has these like flower remedies that are homeopathic, and so I have been taking one called Moon River. So I highly recommend. It's for like menopause symptoms, women's hormone issues, postpartum, pregnancy, and you take it like 4 times a day, and it does help you like sort of, it almost like it feels like you're creating some kind of like foundation and base of like centeredness. So I love that. And then I've been doing so much tapping, and I never, like, I've known how to do this because I worked with a coach for a little while who did it. She was like someone in my mastermind, and like I just sort of taught myself. So EFT, or emotional freedom technique, and tapping. And again, like these are things that in the middle of the night I'm searching for on YouTube, like tapping for anxiety during pregnancy, tapping for fear of this, for fear of giving birth, for fear of like your body changing and all of this. And I really can't seem to find any, so I would make them up. And so like I'm in the middle of the night up in the guest bathroom like tapping on all these like meridians, and it's helping me. And so I think like you have to just do everything you can. So face your fears, feel your feelings, like be okay with saying like, yes, I'm afraid of these things. And you can't like ignore them and get to the other side. You have to like be real with them, because feelings just want to be felt in order to be moved through, right? So if you ever feel stuck in any area of your life, like maybe you need to stop and slow down and try to stop fixing it and start just being where you are. That's like been a huge lesson for me even this past couple weeks, because I again don't want to do that. I don't want to be where I am, and that's really what anxiety is like trying to be somewhere other than the present. And like all I keep thinking about is when I can feel better again, when I can breathe better again, when I can sleep better again. And like that's not healthy, because yes, like I want that, but it's not healthy for me to like try to like be there when I'm here, like I have to be here now. I have to be present now in order to be the best in this moment. This moment is where all our power is and all that we have anyways, right? So why are we worrying about the future? So that's the anxiety, right? And then the depression is like too much focusing on like the past or what has been, and freaking out like, oh my gosh, like I caught myself saying this stuff. I'm never going to sleep again. Oh no. Like, because you start to feel that way, like nervous to even go into the afternoon and be like, oh no, it's going to be nighttime soon. And what if I can't sleep? What if I can't sleep? Or I'm never going to sleep? Like these are all really junk thoughts. So I've been having to face them, see them, catch them, and be strong enough to say like, no, I'm not going to believe in that anymore. I'm going to choose to feel differently. What if I can sleep? What if I have these other supplements like this moon juice magnesium stuff that's really helpful, and this or it's like organic sheep's shea butter that has some magnesium and like lavender in it. So I'm doing those things, but it's mostly here right now. The tapping, the catching the thoughts, and then using my physical techniques with the food, the nutrition, the eating pattern and frequency, to that stuff helps me to maneuver the mind, to help me to break the pattern. And so this is so important. So it doesn't matter if you are pregnant, used to be pregnant, want to be pregnant, or you have any health thing with your body, I get it now so much more, and I have so much more compassion for my clients because I'm feeling it. And it's like I felt it when I was going through IVF, but I forgot how it felt. And I know different things than I know now, so I can be more eloquent when I'm speaking to this. When you want to overcome something in the body that's been going on, it is a mind game and it's a body game. And you need to make them friends. And you use the nutrition and you use the body stuff to be able to overpower the mind and get it back to being correct and truthful for you, like who you really are, what is really possible, how your body can heal and change and be okay. It's really hard to do if you are eating inadequate nutrients and lacking in physical energy. So you put them together, and I think that's the key to overcoming. And so I'm doing everything that I can right now, and I just thought I would tell you guys that because that's really what's been going on. And I hope this is helpful. If you guys have questions, you can comment or let me know. But I do believe that all of this is going to make it better for like giving birth and then afterwards, because like I know where it comes from now, and it's sort of funny, like I feel like I'm putting myself on like a strict sort of regimen, but it's not like from a place of, oh, don't eat that, that's bad, like that's junk or like whatever. It's healing. This is when you need to get really specific, and you need to get really certain about what's going in your body and in your mind. What thoughts are you allowing in, and what foods are you allowing in, and what are you choosing to put in, because it's going to change everything. So in that way, it's easy to commit to a program or a plan when it's like, this is what it takes. Like, and I know that it works because food is medicine. Like, it literally is. If these foods got me pregnant, then these foods can heal this too. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching me cry. One day soon, I won't be as emotional. I also am an emotional authority in human design, and I'm pretty sure that it's like amplifying the, F out of it. But that's it. So one more thing I want to remind you guys of, if you wanted to do my Activate special, it's 3 sessions for $9.99, good through Friday. Okay, so don't worry, I'm still a very good coach. I know what I'm talking about. I'm just leading myself through my own stuff at the moment. But if you're interested in like a small mini package, that is available till Friday. Okay. Okay, so please also share this video if you know anyone in your life who is going through a hard time with their pregnancy or postpartum, because there's like definitely a strategy and things to do. So I just wanted to share so people can kind of know, like, it's not like permanent, and we don't want these things to linger, and we want to grab a hold of it and, move through it. You believe it's happening for me. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, that's kind of how I felt about IVF. Like, and this is kind of why I didn't share this right away, because I needed to get a little bit more of a grasp on it. But yeah, I think all you can be is honest, right? So thank you for your comments. Thank you for your love. And I'll talk to you guys soon.